Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Garrison Snell. Garrison is the founder and CEO of Gyrosity Projects, and he helps his clients grow their target audiences, whether it be in regard to a product, a service, or an idea. Welcome to the show, Garrison Snell.
Thanks, Neil. I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Garrison. What got you into digital marketing, and tell us a little bit more about Gyrosity Projects too.
Yeah, will do. So I went to business school here in Nashville and worked with a lot of entertainment clients. And honestly, those entertainment clients were hiring a bunch of marketing agencies that were not performing well for them, not able to grow their fan bases. And I decided that was something I wanted to change. So I ended up starting my agency a little over 3 years ago in the entertainment space, working with country and Christian artists in Nashville. And we had just developed a really unique way of approaching this idea. And it quickly expanded into those other entertainers' businesses. And then, by way of those businesses, just standard businesses, products and services that were outside of the entertainment space. So we grew from myself to, we're at 21 folks now, I guess, in the middle of, just into year 4, and just experienced an acquisition by a larger holding agency up in New York, which was really exciting. Now we get to be a part of a larger platform, but you can kind of think of Gyrosity as a outsourced marketing department. We provide analytics, marketing services, and content creation. And we staff in similarly to how maybe like a temp staffing company might. And for about the price of usually one full-time salaried employee, you're going to get a team of 3 to 5 working on your project every week that are able to provide skill sets that you honestly couldn't find in one single individual. It'd be very hard to find. So that's the value proposition.
Yeah, well, it looks like you found something that works, and starting in the entertainment business in Nashville is definitely a great place to be in solving a problem. So talk to me about some of those problems that these entertainment companies are having as far as growing their audience.
Yeah, for sure. I can speak to one we have right now, actually. We have a liquor company. His name I won't mention, but they are owned by a very popular director and producer in film and TV. And this particular company, they have staff set up and they have income. They have a good business, but they're having some brand identity issues, and they're having some kind of recognition issues. And they came to us as possible solutions for exposing why ordering the cocktails that they create with this liquor are a better option than some of the standard cocktails. And so we use digital advertising and influencers and social to target very specific areas where the liquor is already distributed, and use that to basically just create the cheapest brand impressions possible over a long period of time. And the theory is that those brand impressions are going to just take up a bigger piece of mind share over period of time, as opposed to trying to create a conversion. So when we get into digital advertising and this kind of work, the problems really exist in one of two spaces. It's either I need more people to recognize who I am when I go do my business, or when I go perform the function of my business, or I need conversions. Like I need sales today, leads today, new fans today, whatever it is. And in the case of this liquor company, it's the first. And so we're working on the cheapest CPM, got to get the lowest cost per 1,000 impressions inside this target audience, and got to create content that's highly shareable, and that's content that's going to create an impression on these folks and make them remember, I'm kind of in the mood for this weird version of a Moscow Mule that I saw that this liquor company has, and I know you guys carry it. Can I try that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very hard to do nowadays, is to capture the attention of people and be top of mind. I know the concern for many smaller companies is, I don't have an advertising budget like Coca-Cola to do all this branding, and they want, to see results. What is working for you? What is getting results for your clients right now?
Good question. And Honestly, that's that's a question that we run into. The disparity between advertising budgets is something we run into almost daily. And for me, it's actually a really exciting opportunity because it forces the businesses to be really good at targeting a very, very specific type of individual with a really relevant value proposition. It doesn't change like the fundamentals of marketing, it doesn't change the fundamentals of does my problem or does my solution solve a problem for them? Does it create value for them they didn't know they need? But what it does is it puts the onus on the agency to really, really research and figure out who that person's going to be, because you don't have a ton of runway to just experiment with, hundreds of different generic audiences. So all of the folks who are running digital ads generically or aren't well versed in long tail retargeting or aren't well versed in short form video, they end up performing very poorly. So for our clients, like we spend a lot of time with our analytics team figuring out who this individual is going to be before we launch ads. And then, we run ads usually using only video, and we use a lot of third-party social media pages to launch this content. What I mean by third-party pages is pages that are not the client's page. So, we own one called Living Healthy, another one called Ion Tech, and another one called Nash Gossip. And these are pages that we can use to test narratives and target the target audience with, and we don't endanger the client's brand or voice at all. And so we'll come up with some assumptions. We'll target a group of usually no more than, say, 200,000 people, 250 maybe up to 300. And our goal is to get that group to just react as hard as possible. And if they don't react, then we are obviously changing some assumptions and trying to get the right mix. But, we've been working on one particular project right now. It's for a group of toy cars. And those toy cars, we've been chipping away at who this audience is going to be for a couple months. And we're finally starting to see ads that are returning a 3 to 5 to 10x return on ad spend. And it's been like 90 days, and it's because it's a very specific product and it's a very specific type of narrative, but we just kept working it and kept working it. And now for a small ad budget, they're able to return a pretty high return on ad spend.
Right, and that's extremely important, is finding out who that perfect client avatar is. So can you really walk me through that process and how? I know you said it can take some time, but how do you determine exactly who it is?
Yeah, it starts kind of in two buckets: quantitative, qualitative. Obviously, I have on my staff the youngest MBA to ever graduate from Belmont University here in Nashville, which is a kind of premier entertainment business school. They have an MBA program in business intelligence, and he was the first to get his business intelligence degree there. He got it when he was 21. So him and I worked very closely with our account managers, pulling public data and then client provided data, and then just general pop culture news. We aggregate. It's not news sources insofar as it applies to blog posts, but themes and conversations coming from influencers. And we pull all that information and we look and say, where does our client's product fit in the grand scheme of what's happening in the world right now, or what's happening in the inside this sector? So we do start macro, and we try to get as very specific as possible. And then we go to the other side and say qualitatively, what product or what problem does it solve? Like, does this thing solve a particular type of problem for a person, and how can we go about describing that individual? And then once we get very specific with that description, we then start asking, where does that person go to get information either about the problem currently or just about other problems this person would have? So one individual that we're targeting for these toy cars is a upper middle-aged male with a design background or an architectural background, usually in certain states in the Northeast that have, there's just some specifics I could get into there, but there are certain zip codes and certain DMA regions that have more concentrations of these family types as opposed to others. And so we're finding that those men are looking for pieces that they can add to their office or their home where they design that give them a clean, modern aesthetic and allow them to just receive additional inspiration. And so we position this product as something like that provides that value. And it took us a while to get to that. And we had a bunch of assumptions about the target audience based on the product and then the data we observed from outside of the client's business. And 4 or 5 of those audiences were kind of working, but then one of them just worked really well. So it took us a minute, but we draw a bunch of assumptions and then we try to catch that against quantitative information we pull from public sources.
So how important is getting this information correct and getting an avatar? And, based on that, do you have to do a lot of education with your clients in order to let them know that this is the right solution for them?
We do, yeah. We have to do quite a bit of education with them, especially at the beginning. There are folks who usually will start businesses. They may have been successful in some other venture in their life, and they'll start a business in something they haven't done before, and they go to hire outsourced solutions. And some of those folks have never worked with agencies, and so they often have expectations of the agencies that are not realistic. And so we have to walk them through that, like, you need to mentally commit for kind of this time period, but also, like, this is a very intentional process. You can't expect that the first couple $100 we spend on digital advertisements to convert you a 10 to 1. You have to understand how much traffic is out there and how much content's being promoted. We have to get very relevant. So we do our best to educate them up front, provide them with a lot of visuals. We usually provide them with a very in-depth digital audit done by my analytics team at the very beginning of the project that shows, like, here's all the little tweaks we're going to make so you can get your hands around exactly how we're going to do what we said we're going to do. And that usually helps a lot. But, inevitably a couple months in, they go, wait, so where's this avatar taking shape? Like, well, in some instances, yes. In some instances, no. We have to get more specific with this individual. So it's been a fun process for me to learn how to communicate that to clients, honestly. And for the clients that have been with us the longest, man, like, they've seen some incredible returns. We have a medical device company here that has seen some just massive returns over about a year period with us. And then a women's fashion company up in New York that saw just incredible 7-figure returns for about 8 months of work with us. So really happy about those.
So how important is trust here? Because you have to convey that message to your clients, but it's also something that you have to integrate into their marketing so that the people that they're reaching out to, their avatar, trusts them and their message as well. Talk to me about how you integrate or influence trust in your marketing.
Absolutely. I mean, our trust, like, the element of trust is in our DNA as a company, quite honestly. I mean, our entertainment brands that we started with, they have such a dependence on whether their fans trust them to be authentic, right? That it's very difficult to run any marketing or deploy anything that feels inauthentic. And that was a really cool advantage for us when we started, was we knew the language of trust and authenticity really well. Especially in country and Christian music, there's a need for authenticity and relatability and the ability to trust this person as a human. So it's highly important. I will say that in certain instances, we get products or services that come through the door that we can't fully wrap our hands around them being quality offerings. So we often don't work with those, and it's because it would be very difficult to put something out there that wasn't truthful.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you want to stay away from. Now, as far as building content, once you've created this avatar, what kind of content are you creating? You said some short form videos. Is that one of the things that you use?
Absolutely. So a lot of it is short form video. And this short form video is like 30 seconds and under, maybe, and it's highlight video, either about the value proposition of the product, people using it, a review on it, whatever. And then we take that, we have an influencer post it, or we use a third-party page to talk about it. And the third-party page always speaks truthfully. It's just better than a company itself bragging on itself.
There's a lot to be said for that third-party recognition. It works wonderfully well in all areas of business.
Absolutely. And so we really lean on that in a lot of ways. Folks that we have relationships with, and then brands that we own. And those brands, like, we have to maintain the integrity of them, obviously, so we only use them for certain things. But everything we put out is backed up by what the client actually can achieve and has achieved, or it's never fabricated. So short form video is what we love. We do love, full page experiences when we can, and mobile experiences when we have the ability to. But for a return on investment scenario, short form video is the easiest for us to make, and you get the lowest cost per impression at this point of any kind of medium. So it's best for us to rely on that for our clients right now.
Right. One of the newest buzz terms, I suppose, that is out there is influencer marketing. Is this something that you implement to help these campaigns?
Yeah, influencer marketing it's everywhere. Yes, I have actually myself a pretty big background in influencer marketing because of the entertainment side of what we've done. But in addition to Gyrosity, I own a smaller company that's a software pitching tool for artists to pitch their songs to social media influencers and music-specific influencers. We also at Gyrosity have a very large database of influencers, but we have our own relationships with them. And these are folks that we collaborate with, and folks that we pitch to, and folks that we can't, contractually obligate them to post about a product, but we'll make sure it gets in front of them. And if the client brings an audience as well, then it works really, really well. And, it's often very affordable for the client. If they don't bring an audience, then there's a financial burden that has to be borne somewhere. But yeah, it's something that we do regularly.
So what platforms are working the best for, your clients? I know we've been talking a lot about the entertainment industry. Which platforms are, you currently seeing great results on?
Yeah, it depends on the product or the service. But we default to digital advertisements. And I love right now the digital advertisements on LinkedIn and Pinterest. LinkedIn for B2B and Pinterest for products. And then I usually follow that up with some, I hate to say omni-channel, but omni-channel retargeting, where it's paid search, it's pre-roll, it's review pre-roll, Facebook, Instagram. And then for influencers, we're still really hot on certain types of Instagram influencers, Pinterest for sure, Snap. And then there's a couple new ones popping up. One called Vero that I'm exploring a lot of, and just some various other small ones that we're starting to experiment with. Twitter. It's funny. Twitter advertisements has come pretty hard back at us recently. Got us a rep and got us a bunch of new ad inventory to try out. And I think they're wanting to capture a new section of the digital advertising spend that the other social platforms seem to have dialed in. So I'm excited to see what ad inventory they're rolling out. And we have recently started experimenting with Shazam and a couple other entertainment specific platforms for non-entertainment brands. So because there's just so much behavior around entertainment, it's easy to take a product that's seemingly mundane and find the right individual and take it there. So, I mean, just by knowing what these folks listen to and how they interact with entertainment brands, it makes it easy to target seemingly non-related products and services.
And that's where the creative comes in, that many businesses don't have the personnel to have that creative thought to really think through a lot of these advertising campaigns.
Absolutely. It's fun, the value proposition we wanted folks to be able to walk away with was we can target those folks and find them, but we're also going to make sure that the stuff we put out is the stuff that's going to get them to react. I don't know. I've just never considered being able to run a Facebook ad as a competitive advantage. So,
So what misinformation is out there about digital marketing in the space that you work in, Garrison? What misinformation do you hear, or what myths do you hear from some of your potential clients?
It's a good question. There are two right now that I can think of that are prominent in our world. The first is that all influencers are made equal, and this is not necessarily something that people are stating, but that they behave around. So they'll say, hey, I got an influencer post, and it's an Instagram influencer would 12K followers and hardly any engagement, and it's a $200 post or something. And I understand that may make the client feel good or feel that they accomplished something, but it doesn't. It's just not. It just doesn't drive business. And so you have to do some more vetting on the influencers to figure out like who their followers are and why do these people actually follow this account? Like, what do they dig about this? So I know a couple of companies out there that, throw influencer marketing around, and that's one of those. It's one of the behaviors that are present. The second is that clients should come in for digital advertising, and they decide that the type of engagement they want to see with digital advertising from a sales perspective is 1-to-1, and they want to see it on day one, is very hard for an agency to create. In 2012, it might have been easier to do when Facebook ads were just starting, whatever it was, 2012 or 13, when Facebook ads were just launching, and we were getting a phenomenal cost per click, phenomenal. It was just incredible. Like, I remember running an ad campaign, and it was like you couldn't lose, But today's day and age, it takes a minute to find the target audience that's going to react and be able to get them down the funnel to buy your product. And a lot of folks come in ill-prepared financially and emotionally for the length of time that could take. And so we do our best to educate them on the outset that, like, look, because you put $1 in does not mean you're making $1.50 out. If you average it out, the goal is for you to put $1 in and make $10. That's the goal that we're aiming for. But the first week we do this, heck, even up to week 6 or 10, we're going to be chasing that, trying to find the right person. And once we get that right person, that's when you're going to see it go. But it's an endeavor that has method, and you have to stick to the method.
And again, that involves trust, in that you have to give the process trust that they see the results that you have been able to produce for other clients. That should certainly help them along the way. So what have you been able to produce for some other clients? Give me some examples of scenarios of somebody that came to you. Maybe they're trying to do some of the marketing or Facebook ads or something themselves. What were you able to do for them, and ultimately what was the outcome? Yeah,
I've got freaking hundreds at this point. We had a lot. I'll give you one that I talk about regularly because it was a really fun one for us. There was a women's fashion company a little bit ago up in New York. I mentioned it earlier. That was a brand new organization that was selling wholesale. They asked us to work on the B2B advertising, using digital advertisements to recruit purchasers. And we recruited probably 100 or so accounts for them in the first probably 6 weeks. But I had a really strong conversation with them and said, we really should go direct to consumer. Would y'all let us try that? So working with their development team, we rebuilt part of the website and then launched their digital advertisements with about $500 a month. And by the end of month 8, they saw a little over $1.5 million in sales, and we're doing about $40,000 a month in digital ads, which was just phenomenal. I mean, it was just a massive return on ad spend. And the best thing about that was they were at less than 10% of revenue to acquire a sale. Meaning, if the sale was generating $200 in revenue, they were paying less than $20 to get that sale, which was a really exciting thing. And so that's our benchmark. Our goal is 10%. And I've got examples on the medical side. I've got examples on the B2B services side. And I've got examples on consumer products like CPG brand side where, we're trying to sell, suntan lotion or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you've got business from all kinds of walks of life. Is there something that you really hit it out the park with as far as results?
It's interesting. It's not in a specific industry, but it is a certain type of business. What we love is businesses that have currently engaged other agencies or have a director of marketing on staff that have a cursory knowledge of what we're doing, but do not have the time to maximize and optimize. That's really what we do. And so, if you're a brand new organization and you want to get off the ground, we're definitely good for that. But we have not. We've often run into the issue where clients are not able to wait it out for us to get the initial stuff started. The initial part is just, it takes longer than making changes, 4 or 5 months in. There's one organization that I can think of that we worked with that had a director of marketing, and they had a really good cursory knowledge of what we were doing and had some decent results. And we were able to come in and take their CPMs and their cost per clicks and then their cost per acquisitions and cut it by we cut it down to 10% of what it was. It was insane. And it was mainly because this guy that was working on the other side just didn't have the time. It wasn't that he was bad at it. It was just that he didn't have the time for it. And it was just a lack of resource to maximize and optimize. And so that's where we came in. Industry-wise, man, we haven't really had a miss in any industry that we've worked in. Where we've had misses is when the client is unable to stick it out for the time that it takes to find the audience for their product.
Yeah. Well, it definitely takes some time, but trust the process, stick with the process, and you get the results that you're looking for. Now, Garrison, if somebody listening to this wants to reach out to you and Gyrosity Projects, what is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can hit us on our Facebook page with Messenger, or to get to me personally, it's just my name, Garrison, Garrison, at gyrosityprojects.co. That's GYROSITY projects.co. And that comes to me and my team. So we've got plenty of case studies and stuff we can share with you all depending on what industry you're in.
Excellent. Well, hey, it's great talking to you. Lots of valuable information there. There's definitely ways to find the right people and grow your audience quickly. Influencer marketing is certainly something that is working well right now. So if you're listening here, reach out to Garrison and Gyrosity and get some help. Garrison Snell, thanks very much for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Thanks a ton, Neil. I appreciate the invite.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.